Your testimony to the FBI was that you had been inappropriately touched by the congressman. Is that true?
That is correct, and I think we can see that play out as well. The ethics committee, of course, is still looking into that, and now they've got a whole nother ballgame that they have to look into. The speaker is not going to have a choice now but to address these allegations and these criminal charges when they are handed down tomorrow. A lot of people have asked me today, since this news broke, is the congressman going to resign? And the reality is he's not going to resign, Chris, because he can't afford to resign. The man has no money elsewhere.
And that is a whole nother thing that they're going to be looking into, the possibility that he inappropriately touched this person. I don't have any additional knowledge about the allegations, but he's facing that. We also, Adrienne, have one more bit of news that I believe just broke this morning. We'll see what ends up happening with it. But prosecutors have proposed a deal apparently in which Santos would pay a fine to the state of Rio de Janeiro and reimburse the fraud victim. Remember in his check fraud thing that he did down in Rio, for the full amount he stole, adjusted for inflation, and the embattled lawmaker is expected to appear before a Brazilian judge at a video hearing. So that's a whole nother separate thing that he's being investigated for. So there's a lot going on.
Yes, and something that I think would be very novel and could actually be very successful is I would wage a defense of some kind of mental infirmity, because as you mentioned, the level of shamelessness, it's not normal. It's not kind of like Donald Trump where he tries to amplify it. You can kind of tell that he knows what the truth is. DeVolder is committed and devoted. And as much as there probably hasn't been that much success in saying, I'm a wild raging narcissist, and that's why, I should be getting a pass here. I think to some extent you could show that this goes to the level of this man having no idea that he should not be acting this way. But yeah, it could be interesting, but I would try to essentially push the case law because I really think that's the only thing that could save Santos.
Yeah, that is fascinating because look, I'm not apparently at this point I'm not anything. I'm not a lawyer, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a psychiatrist or a psychologist. Although I did pursue political psychology, so maybe there's something there. If you can react to all of this just so damning information coming out about you and have no affect whatsoever, appear to not care at all, then you really do have to question, is that why he did it in the first place? Like when you find out that a person has defrauded veterans by fraudulently raising money intended for dog cancer treatment and then you steal it, that is arguably more evil than anything Cruella de Vil was made to do. You can't really be right in your mind. There is clearly something wrong with George Santos. Now that doesn't mean that he's not responsible for what he does, obviously, he's a full-grown man. But it really does make you wonder if the reaction is why he did it in the first place. Any final thoughts?
No, I agree with you. He seems very similar to the gentleman who ran that whole fire festival situation. And so I think that he is a threat to society. And so I really find this will be interesting, essentially what the punishment that he gets is, because again, he should not be among us. He's a dangerous person as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, and argue at least now also a danger to himself in all.
Exactly, but there will be a great Netflix special. So just letting you know, there will be a real good Netflix special. It's a matter of who's going to play him, which I think
who you got.
You need to do a poll on that. I'm not sure yet, but I'm going to look around just a little bit. We'll see.
I've seen John Lovitz has done a pretty good George Santos. I personally think that Bowen Yang does a really good George Santos. I could see that. I'm not sure. But if anyone has any ideas in the chat, give us a good one and you might earn a Blue Apron gift card.
For more political news breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/The Damage Report. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.